I sit before you with my mountain of pocket notebooks. Hi everyone, I'm finally able to film this because my Sterling Ink Passport Weekly Planner has finally arrived in the mail from the US after a very long month of waiting. It is my own fault for ordering so late in the year, December 15th to be exact, but I was dealing with some financial setbacks, aka some expensive gifts to my friends and family in November, and I really wanted to wait until my December 15th paycheck to buy this notebook. And yeah, now I feel really unprepared for the new year. Today is the 4th of January, and I really wanted to have my setup all done by, of course, January 1st. But time's a construct anyway, and I shouldn't put too much pressure on myself. I'll open this in a second. I wanted to do a brief 2024 techo kaigi first, but to do a really brief one because every minute that I spend not opening this is really honestly killing me. So, my 2024 can be divided into before and after my Japan trip. So before my Japan trip, I was only using my Hobonichi weeks. I was really into habit tracking, so I used that nice right-hand side grid paper to do a lot of meal tracking, step counts, and it started to not work. It started to fall apart, but I held on to it until I went to Japan in around April of that year. And in Japan, I bought the Hobonichi Weekly Supplement, which is a weekly vertical system, which is the exact same as what I've got from Sterling Ink. And it looks like this, and it worked really fantastically because I was the busiest I've ever been in my life. I was training for a marathon, I was going to the gym, I had so many hobbies, friends, work. So time blocking really helped me to understand where my energy was going into. So that was really useful. And a second thing that I started was actually I bought a Moleskine daily journal and I ripped it apart and I put it into my Filofax Malden. I've archived it since in this nice little Knox archive binder from Japan. And I really loved to fill this out in the beginning. I would write these long passages of what I did in the day and started to get really onerous towards the end, writing such a exact step by step of everything I did. But I enjoyed the memory keeping aspect where I'd buy things and paste them into this ring binder system. So that part was really enjoyable, but I did fall off this daily memory keeping habit in around August, I'd say, and then I gave up on it. So I only had my weekly supplement. But then in the later part of 2024, around September, which is when I started this YouTube channel, I became really interested in other people's memory keeping spreads online, especially in the Hobonichi A6 size. And everyone's spreads looked just so adorable, and I bought myself a blank MD paper notebook and I started to do a bit of memory keeping, but only for the events that I felt were really worth noting. So it wasn't a daily memory keeper. That sort of got me thinking for 2025, I wanted to get a Hobonichi A6 and actually memory keep every day, which is exactly what I've got here. But I'll go into my 2025 actual lineup a bit later. And then in the last 2 months of 2024, I started something that I like to call my expedition journal. And it's essentially taking a lined field notes notebook and dating it myself and adding in the locations that I went, the conditions of the day, and my thoughts time-stamped. And this actually, I loved doing this. I don't know what really is so different between this and the daily memory keep I tried to keep earlier in the year. I think I found it less onerous because I would give a very, very brief dot point summary of the places I've been instead of writing, as I previously did, very long expositions of I did this and then I did this and then I did this, which wasn't really fun for me. So this kept what I did at a high level, very scientific sort of style. And then when I actually did have thoughts that I wanted to capture, things that I wanted to work through, I did write that down here, which I wasn't doing previously. So I think that's why the expedition journal really worked well for me in the end of 2024. So overall in 2024, what worked? I'd say these expedition notes, also my weekly vertical system, which allowed me to time block. So these are the key things from 2024, which I'll be taking forward into 2025. So what didn't work was my daily memory keeping journal. And I actually am going to attempt this again in 2025, but with a nicer notebook. I think having a notebook that's all in one place, that's bound and that's not in a ring system, gives me more incentive to try to finish this one book so that I have this one consolidated place with all my memories of the year. And I've also learned a lot about journaling and memory keeping and doing nice aesthetic spreads and decoration. So I feel confident enough that in 2025 I can attempt this daily memory keeping challenge again. Okay, so that's last year's wrap up and summary out of the way. Let me finally get to open my Sterling ink planner. Wow. Okay, so my first impressions is that this is a very lightweight and small book. It is passport size, and I love the dark green with the gold edging that I got, and it's very lightweight and very, very, very minimalistic. I don't think I was expecting it to be so, so light. Everything's so light. The text is light, the font's light, the design, the paper. There's quite a lot of grid paper in the back here. It feels as if almost half the book is this grid, which is good. I can think of a way to use this. I'm already thinking that I should transfer some of my no-buy spreads into this planner. So one of my resolutions in 2024 is to do a bit of a no-buy in the first couple months so that I can save up for my Europe trip. I started to do a couple of like no-buy planner spreads, and I had moved my 2023, 2024 goals here, 2025 goals, and started some basic tracking for January, February, and March of my expenses and how my no-buy was going. But I think I might transfer these over to the end of this common planner instead. Oh, these two colors together just look divine. So this is the latest Field Notes quarterly edition, and it's this dark linen maroon color, and with this dark green, they just make the best contrast. I also love the little stickers that I got from Sterling Ink. I've never purchased from them before, so this was such a nice addition and unexpected. It's actually a calendar, and yeah, just so pretty. It's got traveler's notebook, coffee, pastries, all my favorite things in one painting. Okay, so let me get sorted and I will run through quickly what my final 2025 planner lineup is. So these are the 3 notebooks that I'll be using in my 2025 planner system. And I know one big obvious thing to call out first is that I'll no longer be using my ring binder system. And the reason for that really is just I didn't end up wanting to rip apart my Sterling Ink common planner. My plan initially was to take this apart and hole punch it and use it in this ring binder, but I think upon seeing this notebook and how thin the pages are, I feel like that's not a good idea, and especially with how small the margins are on the inside edge, I feel like it would just ruin this notebook. If I ever do find inserts that I like that fit this, that fit my ring planner, then I would totally use this again for planning. And I don't mind using the ring system for planning. I think I don't really like using the ring system for memory keeping. I feel that having one single book definitely motivates me more to complete the book entirely and to be more committed to memory keeping every day. So these are my 3 picks for 2025. The first one is my memory keeping system. So this is a Hobonichi A6 Techo Original English Edition Monday Start. And I'm just so excited to fill this out every day next year. And then hopefully this time next year in 2026, I'll have an entire book complete with all sorts of memories and ephemera. I've already started to memory keep a little bit and I've had so much fun already. The second thing I would like to introduce is my planner for next year. I got the Sterling Ink Common Planner in the vertical Passport Weekly, and I have it in a brown Traveler's Passport size notebook. And finally, my last notebook is a field notes in the latest quarterly edition. It's a simple dot-lined notebook, and I'll be using this just as scribbles. I've been using field notes consistently for the last, I'd say, 2 years as a random brain dump scribbles note-taking journal, and it's worked really, really well for me so far, so I don't see any need to change that. I do have my no-buy spreads in this beginning section, which I'll be transferring over to my passport planner when I have the time. But otherwise, I think this field notes will usually sit here with my traveler's notebook. I think planning and brain dumping really go hand in hand. I usually like to use my field notes to just scribble down all the things I'm inspired by, all the things I'd like to try. And then once I wrap my head around what's feasible, what I can do, start breaking down goals into smaller goals, that's when I'll start to transfer things over into my planner. So I think these two definitely go together, and I'll probably be carrying them around together as well. And then this is more something that will stay at my desk at the end of the day for me to fill out. So that's it for my 2025 planner lineup and my 2024 quick techo kaigi. I have a really good feeling about this year's notebooks. A fault of mine previously is that I've never been able to stick consistently to a notebook, apart from the field notes, but that's scribbles, so that doesn't really count. But whenever I start a notebook, I tend to jump around. I also tend to make plans and trackers that I never end up completing. But since I've started this YouTube channel, I'm going to take the commitment a bit more seriously, and this Hobonichi A6 is my first time really thinking, I think I have a shot at this. And especially when I first opened up the Hobonichi, I thought, wow, this journal is so beautiful. And I can see why it's such a cult favorite in the planner community. And I would love to see a year of my life in this cute, colorful little notebook. So that's it for my lineup. I hope that it can help me do more fun and creative things in 2025. And I think this is the perfect setup for myself to facilitate that. I hope you all have a good year ahead and that you had a really good Christmas break and New Year's break with your family and friends. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.